Okay, so okay, thank you. So my question is for Catherine Badger's office, and it was kind of addressed at the beginning about it. Now, did you say that they were going to? She's already put a resolution in, because what I heard was it hadn't been approved. It was already submitted to the council, and they didn't approve it.
It was approved last, so Supervisor Barger last week put in a resolution at the Board of Supervisors meeting to defer all permit fees. And why I'm being specific with language here is that no permit fees are being charged right now. Deferred because we don't know, our permit fees are cost recovery of the county. It's based on how much it costs us to actually staff and implement the permitting process. Like, until we know how much it's going to cost, so we can actually budget to waive them and pay them off, we're going to kick it down the road. We're not going to be collecting permit fees. So it was passed and approved last week.
It was passed and approved?
Yes.
And so when you see, it's still not clear on deferred. That means we might have to pay later, or somebody else is paying later.
No collection is going to happen right now. Frankly, our strategy right now is to defer them so we can find the funding to cover them and to pay them and cover them. And also set up a structure so that many insurance policies have line items specifically where they will pay for permit fees in that insurance policy. We want to be able to capture every single dollar that is out there that insurance companies are obligated to pay for permit fees. So if we blanket every single thing, that could be tens of millions of dollars that insurance companies would be paying towards permit fees that we're letting them off the hook for.
I don't think insurance companies pay for. I used to be in insurance.
There are some home insurance policies that have specific line items for insurance policies.
Many don't. So
I know not all of them do. I certainly recognize that. We're not saying all of them do. We're saying that there are many that
right. So again, what does deferred mean? If we don't have it in our insurance policy, we'd have to pay later?
Deferred means right now the supervisor is committed to identifying the funding to cover the permit fees so that we don't have to saddle people with the permit fees.
Okay.
Yeah, the deferred is so that we can find the funding.
So that's the goal, to find funding to cover those expenses. Okay.
Thank you for the vote and everything your office is doing to champion the efforts. My question is that the same deferral process that was followed for the Palisades? And if not, why or why not?
So in the Palisades in the city of LA, the mayor has requested that the council approve a budget that covers all permit fees. To my understanding, the council has not approved the way the budgeting of that line item yet. All I know is the mayor has requested that it be done. Their structure is a little bit, obviously it's the city of LA versus the unincorporated LA County, so two different jurisdictions. And also they have a different structure in budgeting. So how their structure works is the mayor requests everything that they want in the budget, and the council decides what they have in for what they don't. For my last check, the council has not approved funding the waiving of all permit fees in the Pacific Palisades. I know the mayor has requested it, but it hasn't been fully funded yet. Now, I know they're committed, they've expressed they're committed to executing that, but I have not seen that budget stamped and approved and completely funded yet.
So it's still in process. So it's still in process for Palisades.
Yeah, so Pacific Palisades are completely in the city of Los Angeles. So all of their permits go through the city of Los Angeles process. Altadena, all permits go through the county of Los Angeles. So the city of Los Angeles has a completely independent permitting process that the county of Los Angeles does for Altadena. So for the city of Los Angeles, when they want to do something like pass a budget that waives permit fees, the mayor would request that the city council grant them the funding to waive permit fees, and that's what the mayor did. To my extent, that has not been approved yet by the city council. In the county, our process is a little bit different to where the Board of Supervisors acts in unilateral authority in the approving of every budget. And every determination is made to pass a budget when every dollar is going to approve the budget that we have funded. So what we're going through the process of is setting, similar to the Palisades, is the Palisades, they haven't identified the funding to waive all permit fees yet. In the county, we also haven't been able to identify the funding to waive all permit fees yet, or they would have been waived yesterday. So we're going, by deferring them, we are making a commitment that we're going to go and find the funding and giving ourselves time to find the funding and not collect any dollar until we found that funding.
My question is, can you explain the definition of like-for-like rebuild on a fifth grade education?
I can take a stab at that. So, hi, again, Brian, again, it's regional planning. So a like-for-like rebuild It's pretty much that. You're allowed to put back what was there. You can build larger, up to 10% larger, or 200 square feet, whichever is bigger. You just can't go any further into required yards. And if you have site-specific questions about required yards, I'll be back there. Or you can go to our one-stop center on Woodbury. That about covers it. And again, yes, can you? Square footage, building footprint, and height.
The one caveat though, which we did make an exception that if you do want to go from 2 stories to 1, which I know we've talked to many residents that do, you're allowed to do that under like for like.
2 stories to 1?
Yes.
Yeah, because it would not go over.
Yes.
Yeah, you can build back smaller, you can build back the same, you can even build back slightly larger.
Now,
The slightly larger is 10%. So if you have a 2,000 square foot home, you can add 200 to that, right? And then you also get an aerial. You also get,
so traditionally, you said it's technically based off, normally it's based off of footprint, but we've made the exception that inherent to the community, a lot of people, a lot of seniors wanted to go from 2 stories to 1. We said that makes sense for remaining within your traditional 10% square footage. Even if it changes your overall footprint, you can go from 2 stories to 1 and have it qualify as like for like.
okay. Question.
Maybe I can insist on what you're asking. You have a 1,000 square foot house, you had a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. When we talk about the 10%, you may want to add a bathroom to that. Maybe your house had all the bedrooms on the left side, you want to change it up. You are allowed to do that. When we say like for like, that means square footage, footprint, 10%. Okay? So yes, you can build it any way you want within that perimeter of that 1,000 square feet or 1,100 square feet.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Question. A lot of our neighbors are talking about bringing to increase their house. Is that something that they can do?
Increasing the size of the house, so you have less.
The setback,
Okay, so you end up with more yard or less yard?
less yard.
Less yard, you can do that as long as, basically 2 things. You're not going above the 2% or 200 square feet, whichever's greater, and you're being mindful of those required yard areas. So, like, and again, I'd have to look at the parcel itself.
Will no longer be even. So some will stick out further. Their house will start
Yes,
further out.
as long as they're minding the minimum yard areas.
And if I'm correct, the minimum, I've done my homework, is 20 feet. Is that
In
correct?
the front yard.
In the front yard, correct. Okay.
The immediately after the fires, my understanding was you had 3 years to rebuild. I just read recently that 3 years now lessened had increased to 5 years. What are the repercussions if you don't rebuild in that 5-year window?
I don't want to misspeak. I know there are, and it's on recovery.lacounty.gov. I'm going to go and look it up right now. I just have the latest information because it's changed. But unless you know no, I don't know the exact timelines for rebuilding because we're still a long ways out from.
I just read that on the county assessor's website that it had been increased to, I believe it's 5 years.
No, does that have to do with tax assessment, or is that? I'll look it up. Okay. I'll find out and get back to you. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you getting the facts here? Anybody else? All right.
Right there.
Yes, sir.
I have 2 questions. In terms of like to like, property has a basement. If the homeowner decides to fill in the basement, can they use that basement space to be placed on the property to expand the space?
That is a very interesting question because we have not. I personally have not reviewed the application where there was a basement and they want to fill it in.
Yes.
Also,
use that space somewhere else.
Also, our code makes a distinction between cellars and basements. Don't ask me why, but a cellar is more than 50% below grade, and a basement is more than 50% above grade. So, yeah, I mean, I would have to look at it on a just include the disclaimer here on a site-specific basis. I have to like review the plans, see the architectural drawings and all of that. But as long as the rule of thumb with like for likes is as long as the square footage, building footprint, and height does not increase by more than 10%. Right, again, so tired of saying this, or 200 square feet, whichever is greater, then it can be considered like for like.
Some basements, the square footage is incorporated up. The square footage of the basement counts towards the house. Some of them it doesn't.
It's cellars that count, or sorry, cellars do not count towards square footage. Basements do count for square footage. And again,
To that thought, though, the house was, I think, grandfathered. The property was grandfathered in, so they weren't even aware that a basement was there in the initial plans.
On this one, we'll work with you. We'll get to the specific plans, and then if it wasn't in the specific plans, we can work with you to, identify what the true nature of the house was in reality.
Okay, thank you.
We'll work with you.
All right, next question was about field modification. Is that based upon closer to, like going from Woodbury, Mariposa, Mendocino, Altadena Drive, Mount Curve? Is it closer to the mountains based upon the modifications, field modifications?
Typically, yes. The high fire or very high fire severity zone is going to be closer to that woody area, which is going to be more so towards the mountains. But the best thing to check to see if you applied is if you go to our website for LA County Fire Department field modification. You'll see our fire hazard severity zone map, and you type in your address, and it shows whether you're in the zone or not.
I'll clarify, the only areas in Altadena that are high fire severity zones are on the very perimeter that are directly adjacent to open space. Those are the only areas that are in the high fire severity zone.
Or I'm saying something wrong. It's God telling me to stop. No, it's it's CAL FIRE did an assessment of risk adjacent to open space or natural areas, and so it's not black and white based off of the street number or anything like that. Very cool. We'll make sure they've got the link that they can show.
The Army Corps puts in requests for what types of properties they want to clear to FEMA. FEMA then determines what they're going to cover and fund for the Army Corps to clear. So the Army Corps has put in requests to clear pretty much everything, and there's waiting on FEMA to approve it. Commercial is one of the things that they have not yet gotten a determination on from FEMA. Now, for most properties that are mixed use or multifamily residential and have a owner living in the property and also owning other units, most of those have been approved. But generally, commercial has not been approved to be cleared by the Army Corps. That's a FEMA decision. Trying to balance, because we want to keep the pressure on FEMA and the supervisors, been in DC, leaning on FEMA. FEMA's been out here, and frankly, the FEMA folks that are on the ground here are fully in for it. It's a much higher up the food chain decision. We're going to be as accommodating as possible to ensure that we want to give as much time as possible for FEMA to decide to do the right thing and cover removal of these properties.
Ask the question, but it's basically to the attorney, so I think I can just ask you offline, because I'm trying to understand. There are, like you said, it's one big lawsuit, but then in different households, different things were lost. So everyone wouldn't necessarily get the same. Is that correct?
So correct. That's why it's important for you to complete the damages questionnaire, and it's really, really long, and that's why it's so important to complete the fact sheet. It's very, very long. I mean, we spent a lot of time fighting over this. So no, everyone is not going to get the same. That's why I was talking about that range, and there's going to be a matrix. This is further down the line. Yeah. And tomorrow I'm having a free event, and I brought together, so for my clients, I'm doing free therapy for them. I have a therapist. And then we have access to a wills and trust attorney. So tomorrow I'm doing a free brunch and learn. If you guys want to come out, there'll be a wills and trust attorney there. There'll be a doctor there. She's a therapist. I'll have an expert in rebuilding as well, just so that we can continue the conversation. And then I'll be there as well. So at Connect to Rise here in Pasadena.
That's something that is, listen to me, is necessary. If you do not have a will, if you do not have a trust, specifically a trust, now's the time for you to get it. And they this wonderful attorney is providing that service for all of her clients that you don't have to pay for. So if I were you, I'd take advantage of that. I'm a state licensed financial educator in the space of health and annuities retirement. And one of the greatest challenges in our community is our people not understanding the importance of having a trust, let alone a will, an executor, and all that other stuff. So it's important. I'm sure you can get information from her table for her event tomorrow. Please help me give it up for all of these service providers, civil and county departments that are here today. Y'all can do better than that if you don't mind, please. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And now they'll be here for about 10 or 15 minutes to answer your questions, get information. I want to ask you to finish filling out your survey. Here's what I promise you. If there was a question or something that was not answered or you need clarity on, again, write it on that survey, and then we will make sure, my office will make sure your questions are answered. And I want to encourage you to go to our website, Lift 411, closing slide, guys. Lift 411, guys. Lift 411. Anyway, on there's a tab that says Eden Fire. Click that tab, and a lot of the information I've already shared with you, especially with the funding, you can go there and obtain that information. And for some, it'll even help you with debris, having funds to do the debris removal and some of the other services that you need. All right. Thank you so much. God bless you.